Hello and welcome to a new episode of Real PR with me, Fiona Scott. It's really good to see you, though of course I can't see you and you can see me. Whatever you're doing, I hope today's episode gives you some hints, tips, insights, or simply entertains you. I'm joined today by a fellow PR who I've known for a while. We've never actually met in real life, and today she travels the world doing PR with, let's just say she's very choosy about her customers, but she will tell you all about that herself. Her name is Hayley Knight.
Thank you. It's so good to be here and talking to you. I've been very excited about this. As as Fiona said, I've been doing PR for about 10 plus years now, and working in all different kind of positions, from in-house, agency side, freelance, to running my own agency. I specialize in working with social impact PR. So we work with purpose-led businesses and helping them to make a difference. And I'm specialized in developing sort of big change-driven campaigns for small businesses.
Hayley, for people that don't know what that means, give us a couple of examples.
So we've just run as a freelance, I've just run a campaign for a plant-based company, help plant-based health professionals to campaign for more vegan options on hospital menus. So we did a big survey and some research, and then we have an upcoming open letter and to sort of develop the campaign. So a lot of the campaigns that we do are sort of things like government petitions, surveys, stunts, collaborations and partnerships, working with experts. So it's a lot of what we do is very data driven, but it's all designed to sort of make a change and make the changes that the clients are working towards. So whether it's towards climate change or conservation, health, social care, technology, we work across various different industries, but all with social change and purpose driven communications in mind.
Okay, so with that in mind, why do you choose to work on those type of projects or with those type of companies? What's the why?
The why is it makes PR a lot more fulfilling. Secondly, I was working before COVID, working in London, and I was working with various different types of businesses. And after COVID, so I was very burnt out. I decided to pack up my life in London, me and my partner, and we packed up our work and we went traveling for 2.5 years. And over those 2.5 years, we went across the continent. We met a lot of people. We met a lot of initiatives, a lot of local companies, a lot of countries doing these incredible things that just aren't being spoken about. And we decided that we wanted to create an agency that brought light to what people are trying to do around the world, what businesses are trying to do to make a difference, and we wanted to be a part of these companies and these people's journeys.
So tell me, because I meet a lot of people who've got very good intentions in business, but often good intention doesn't go alongside having the budget to work with someone like you'll know what that. So how do you manage that then, Hayley? Because I'd be interested in how you manage the conversation between purpose, impact, and actually being paid for what you do.
Yes, it's an interesting conversation and a very good point. So we often say that you can't be sustainable or in profit at the same time, and it's very true. You can either sort of decide to change the world, or you can decide to run a profitable business. And we're also finding that with the agency. But it is we are at the point now where we are developing really good relationships with businesses and bringing on new clients that are being invested in. And we're seeing a big trend in investors looking for sustainable, socially driven, impactful businesses that again obviously make a profit, but there's a lot more interest from investors. So we tend to connect with startups and small businesses that are on the investment cycle as such. But we do work with small businesses as well. We're very flexible with budgets. I would much rather go to bed at night knowing that I've made a change rather than I've made an extra X amount of money. So we're very flexible, and I feel and it's always conversations I'm happy to have if it's something that I'm particularly passionate about. For me, it's like if you're like my big passion is wildlife conservation, and I developed that over from traveling as well and working and with conservation charities. And we went into the Amazon, we did some work in Costa Rica. It was and also meeting these people that are doing the work, and the amazing work that they're doing is like we want to promote that. We want to get the word out there. So for me, it's passion over profits, and planet over profits of every day of the week.
Mm. So I know that we have recorded this in advance of it being used, but tell us where are you and your partner right now in the world and what you're doing?
So we're in Turkey. So Marcus has actually just gone to Greece today, and so we do some of our separate solo travels as well. Um, I've been in Greece. Sorry, I've been in Turkey for about a month, and before that, I was in Kosovo, and then I'll go to back to Kosovo at the end of this month, August, and then I'll go on to Tenerife, and then I have no idea.
So you're a bit of a digital nomad. What I you said during COVID you were burned out, so you decided to travel. How do you see your lives shaping up over the next few years then, Hayley? Do you think that far ahead?
So we both know that we don't want children, and so that's never going to play a part in our lives. I think we're looking at moving to Greece next year for a year and settling down a little bit more. When we were traveling full time, when we had our break because we weren't working, we were traveling quite quickly, a few days here and there. Especially went through South America for 6 months, and it was sort of like we did like 7 countries in 6 months, a few days here and there in places. It was amazing, but it was exhausting.
Mm,
And so when we came back to work and we wanted to continue to travel, which is the reason why we set the agency up, was because we got to the point where we're running out of money and we need to go back to work, but we don't want to stop traveling. How do we do this? And then Marcus is a marketing expert, so we just brought our skills together to create Be Yellow. And then, but we do it a lot slower, like a month at least in a place. We've had a very slow summer this year in terms of staying in places for a while. I was in Spain for 2 months. And then so I think we're at the point now where we're quite ready to try and settle down on a more longer term basis, but we don't really want to go back to the UK.
mm.
And I don't think that there's really anything. There's like we have friends and family there, but I think that the way that we've set our business up and the way that we've set our lives up, we don't really need to be in the UK. Um, and it allows us traveling allows us to connect more with the companies that we want to work with, and help support the countries that we visit. So it's just I think it's indefinitely travel for now. I think that we will sort of get slower and slower and settle more and down more into more countries. Our goal is to sort of finally settle down at some point in the future in Sri Lanka.
Mm. It just sounds very glamorous when you're sat in Swindon in the UK. Um,
It's difficult because you have to sort of try and draw the travel work balance, because obviously, especially of a small like startup business, you're having to work a lot on it. So we're still working 9 to 5, and then sort of going out in the evenings and weekends, and which so it's like it's not like constantly travel, but it is like a really nice time where we're like, oh, we're going to go and work from the beach today, or we're going to go to like the park and work from there, and it's like having the constantly nice weather as well, which you obviously just don't get in England. um and so it does have those perks, but yeah, it's not as glamorous as people think. It's like not spending the day by the pool or whatever. It is like it's still working hours.
so talk to us then, Hayley, about um, your own PR for you and your brand. Talk to some of the things that you do, because my experience, and I'm getting better at this, is that many small PR agencies like us we're pretty rubbish at doing our own PR. So talk about how you're making yourself visible, particularly if you're not anchored in one particular place.
Mhm. So yeah, I'm the worst PR in the world when it comes to promoting myself. I hate it. I will promote every other company all day long, but But I've started to utilize LinkedIn a lot more. We're getting building my profile up through LinkedIn. I have to give all the credit to Marcus because he does all of the socials, all of the content creation, and our account manager Sarah does the newsletter. I kind of just sort of dip in and out as and when I can. I've never really had an online brand before. I think my closest to that was Twitter when Twitter first came about, and I was really, really good at building my profile and getting referrals through Twitter. And obviously, that's not possible anymore. It is difficult when you travel because obviously you can't attend networking events. But we've within a year we've done quite well. We've built Marcus does a lot of video content on TikTok for us, and then that gets translated to Instagram. We're in the Small Business 100 list, which has been which is amazing.
Is that for
And
the
we
Hayley?
do
Is
it
that?
through
Sorry to interrupt. The Small Business
partners.
100, is that for this year, 2024, or last year?
Yes, 2024. So we've just so as we're recording, it hasn't been announced yet, but it will be once the episode is out.
Congratulations, because I've just had a client who too has been,
Amazing.
we're working on that story now, but like you say, by the time this goes out, everyone will know.
Yeah.
People might think that that's a small thing or not worth going for. So let's just talk. Why did you think it was worth going for, Hayley?
Oh, Small Business 100 has been on my bucket list for years. I genuinely had clients myself on there. I've seen businesses that have been on it, and like what it does for businesses is amazing. It's incredibly beneficial to have one of the opportunities that businesses get. I never put myself forward before my old agency because I never thought it was good enough. I never thought I was good enough. And I don't think I would have been accepted on it at that time. But I feel, and to be honest, I put Yellow forward for it because I thought, why not? Like, why you don't, you got to be in it to win it, right?
Mm.
I didn't think that as a less than a year agency at the time of applying it, just, but yeah, we got it, and I'm really excited about the potential that it's going to bring us. But I would recommend any small business to apply for it.
Cool. Thank you for that, because that reinforces what I say to clients and people in my circle as well. So Hayley, take us back in time. Tell us a bit about where you grew up, where you went to school, what you enjoyed doing. Set the sort of scene before you were traveling the world with your partner.
Oh, this is another podcast. I'll give you the light version. So I grew up with my grandparents, and I grew up in Essex. I went to school, awful school, and I enjoyed learning and education and study, and I just didn't enjoy my school experience. I went to college. I went to Haven College. I studied performing arts, and it was at performing arts that I decided that I learned a love of writing, and I wanted to be a screenplay writer. And so I did create. I went to university. As Dartington College of Arts is now part of Falmouth University in Cornwall. Was the first person in my family to go to university, and I studied creative writing in English literature and visual arts. And it was there I decided that I wanted to become a journalist. So I started writing for the local newspapers, or I started. I think at some point I might have started my own newspaper. I can't remember. Vaguely remember that. And when I graduated, I took an internship at a tech company, which at the time was part of the BBC, and it was there that I started working with the PRs and sort of accepting review products and content and stories. I decided I wanted to be on that side of the fence. I wanted to be the one creating the stories and writing the pitches and sending the products and working with the clients. And so after my internship, I took another internship at another tech company, doing their PR and marketing internship, and I learned a lot. I was there for, I think after my 6-month internship finished, I got offered a job, and I took that, and I was there for about a year and a half. And then the company was sold, and everyone was made redundant. And then I found a job after a while in an agency in London. And it was my first agency, PR agency experience, working with lifestyle clients. And it all started from there. And then after that, I went freelance. And it sort of built there. And then I launched Boxed Out PR, which was kind of a mix between freelance and an agency. It was just me. And then that took me up until COVID, for about 7 years up until COVID, and then probably not so long, but then after COVID, I was so tired and burnt out and just sort of needed a break. And at that point, I didn't even know if I wanted to continue doing PR. So I went traveling, and then I think it really, really cemented everything that I learned while I was traveled, the people that I met, the companies that I met. I really cemented the fact that I really did wanted to do PR, but I wanted to do it very differently.
So tell me then, because I know you and I are on the same page about quite a few things. I always
Hmm.
get very frustrated in our world, the PR world, rather than the pure journalism world, because like you, I straddled the two areas. Um, I always get really frustrated with the BS that can be blown around by PR companies. And I often talk about this. And I wondered if there's any elements of PR that now that you've decided you're going to go purpose driven, social impact, and be choosy about who you work with, are there any aspects of BS in PR that you would warn people about, or that for you is a red flag where you think, that wouldn't be a type of company I'd be working with if I wanted PR for my business or brand? Have you ever come across things like that?
So many, so many. We have had, or I have had so many clients come to me in the past that are terrified of PR because of like an anecdote that I have is of a friend, and he used to run a grooming um, chain in London, and he had worked with a PR, and a 3-month contract cost £75,000. And they had got him over 3 months one piece of coverage, and that piece of coverage was through his own contact. And him and his business partner, we were talking about doing their PR after that, and his business partner was so put off, completely understandably, by PR after that experience. He just wouldn't commit. He was like every reason under the sun not to do it and why it wouldn't work. And I think that's probably one of them, is like high fees like that. It's like you're never going to see a return of investment on that. I don't think any PR is worth that amount of money for that amount of time. And I think it's like I'm very much like under promise, over deliver. And I feel there's so many agencies out there that have the opposite of over promise and under deliver. And KPIs is one as well. When someone says that, oh, I can get you 50 pieces of coverage in 3 months, like no, that's never going to happen, or ever. And so it's just little things like that. It's just like asking the right questions, and getting the information before you agree. But um yeah, I think we're seeing so much at the moment of sort of people branching out into social media and podcasting, and offering podcast development and social media development into their services with no experience and no understanding of how it works. And again, like I'm seeing it in like it's the advertisements that pop up on Facebook for me, and it's like, oh, you can get 15,000 followers overnight with these 3 like proven strategies of social media. And it's like, well, firstly, like posting on social media now without a digital marketing strategy just doesn't work, and it will never work, and the algorithms won't allow it to work. And I think, yeah, it's just when you see the business coaches of like, oh, we can make you 6 figures in 1 month, and it's just like these sort of one man bands that have probably either done it once or copying someone else's strategy. But yeah, I find like it's definitely like priced in when you hear what people have been charged, and what KPIs people have been promised. And like, and also it's like when people say like X amount of coverage, is like coverage isn't necessarily quality coverage. Or when you get like, oh, I've got you 10 press links and none of them are relevant to your brand whatsoever. I think, yeah, there's lots of red flags when you,
Yeah,
when it comes to some
I
agencies.
am. I had a conversation with a potential client last week, which really resonated with me as to what good PR looks like. And even I hadn't thought of it. So this is someone I've never met, not in the same part of the UK as me. But the reason he phoned me, he's considering PR. I actually told him he isn't ready yet. He needs to do some other things, like have a
Mhm.
website would be good. But anyway, other things. But the reason he phoned me is that he works with someone I work with, and he was getting more work as a result of my client getting busier and people mentioning my client. Now, this particular client, for various reasons around what his goals are, 98% of the coverage I've got for him is local,
Mm.
2% is national. But this person thought, well, actually, I can now see what the impact is of getting coverage on a semi-regular basis, not caring where that coverage is, but talking about what he does means this guy's busy. He's needing to outsource work to other people and other suppliers. And now, therefore, a supplier is thinking, well, I want a bit of that. And to me, in my world of small business PR, that is how PR should work. Sales down
Mhm.
the line, investment for a period of time. There aren't any quick wins. There aren't quick
No,
wins. There's no
it's
magic.
long term.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
PR is long term.
Yeah, and you need to be thinking about that. And you need to, I mean, to anyone listening out here who's considering PR, who's been following the podcast, because obviously we talk about PR and BS. You've also got to like the person, the agency you're working for, haven't you, Hayley? That's
100%.
important.
100%, you've got to have a really good relationship with them. I have fantastic relationships with my clients, and my associates, and yourself included. And I think that it's so important. You can't hate the people that you work with. You can't have negative feelings towards them. And if you do, it just doesn't work. And Yeah, I've always prided myself on having great relationships and being the face of my work.
Okay, so for 2025, I know I'm putting you on the spot here, but for 2025, let's just say there's someone listening to this, they pick up on it in a few weeks' time and they think, well, I want some PR. What would be your top three tips for them to consider? It doesn't matter whether it's you or it's me or it's somebody else. What would be your top three tips? What should they be looking for?
Oh gosh. So I think regional PR is a really key part of the PR strategy, especially now with people wanting to target specific markets and specific audiences and demographics and geographics. And regional PR, as you know, is so valuable and can be even more valuable than national PR. It can put you directly in front of your audience. So I'm working with a platform called Neela, who provides healthcare to families back in India that to make lives easier for non-resident Indians. And we're doing it's very Indian approach. We're doing Indian radio stations, Indian news, Indian broadcast, and we've got so many. We've only been working with them for less than a month, and we've already got them on like BBC and London Live, and speaking to other Indian channels. And it's like, so that's a more effective strategy for the client than it is going to like the Times and the Telegraph, because their whole idea is, their whole goal is client acquisition right now. So putting them in front of their ideal clients, and regional press is amazing for that. Also, is like in integrating marketing and PR. They're basically two, they're the same things, but they work very separately. But they sort of work for each other now. I think I'm not a marketing expert. I couldn't talk much about marketing on the marketing side, but for the work that we do is we develop sort of a marketing strategy that's in line with the PR strategy, and it helps boost the PR efforts and it helps boost the PR goals. For us, we sort of say the PR is the awareness and the marketing is the sales, and it's sort of bringing them both together bridges that gap. So I would definitely sort of consider bringing the two services together if you can, or if there's an opportunity to do so.
Marvelous. Marvelous. Look, Hayley, thank you so much. Just tell people how they can find you on the old internet, given that you might be in Turkey or in Greece or some other exotic place. I'm not in the UK. So tell us how we can find you.
My company Instagram is byellow.life. I have a personal one, but I never use it. But if you wanted to connect with me personally, it's Hayley_what's next. And then my website's byellow.life. You can email me from there if you want to inquire into anything. But yeah, Instagram's probably the best way to see what we're up to.
Brilliant. Thank you ever so much, Hayley. I might come back to you
Thank
in
you.
about a year and see where you are, what you're doing. And
Sounds good.
I do have a really good friend who's an ex-journalist but has got business in Greece. So maybe if you end up there, you should talk to me about him.
Perfect.
Thank you very much for watching today. Really hope you got something out of that. If you want to find out more about me, visit scottmedia.uk, or you can follow me on LinkedIn or go onto Facebook, where I have a group called Fiona Scott's PR Tribe, and you're very welcome to join. It's free. Until the next time, goodbye.